Good afternoon, everybody. This is Richard with the Hunter-Gatherer Society, and Dozer and I are out checking out a new trail. It's a beautiful day. It's about 75 degrees. Spent a little time in the hammock, taking a little siesta, but hated to waste this cooler weather without at least getting out in the woods for a while. And I have been out on some county water management land a couple times, and I just found a series of trails in here that look like primarily used by horseback riders and ATVers. I see ATV tracks. I haven't seen any out here. I have heard some kids out here playing one day, but I see these trails winding around back in here. I have no idea, how far they go. I don't know which, where they go or how long they run, but I thought today I'd get out here and just see how dry they are and see if I can explore them. We haven't really had any significant rain in a while, so overall the trails are pretty dry. Oh, buzzards. Turkey buzzards. So we'll see how far we get in here, but my last trip out I found quite a bit of Smilex, and I don't know if there's any of that here. Frankly, I'm not sure what I'm going to find, but thought we'd get out and explore it. So we're going to see where this trail goes, and we'll bring you back if we find anything of interest. I've seen what I think to be a little bit of purslane along the way. So far, the patches that I've found were pretty small, so I've left them be. But I was hoping to get in here as I got farther back to where the water had been and maybe come across some lemon bokeh, but so far that has not been the case. But I do see greenbrier vines getting more and more common. And there is Smilex right there. A lot of butterflies. Birds are singing. I see quite a few Smilex tips here. I'm going to harvest a few of these and then we'll get back on the trail. Love those. And of course, foraging bag. Now when you're doing this, you want to really make sure, you see here there's a tip sticking out. But you really want to make sure that that is connected to greenbrier or Smilex, especially here in Florida, because amongst these will be a lot of different vines, and not all of them are user friendly. And so before you pluck that tip off, because the tips may look the same, so before you pluck them off, make sure that you take a look at them, and again, make sure that the leaves match, make sure everything's right. Like, these are huge. So we're just going to take the tips of these, but I followed down a little ways and found some leaves, and they are correct. So, nice little find. But you really want to take a minute and make sure that what you're picking is correct, because it's very easy to grab onto the wrong vine and that could be a quick ruin of the day. One of the things that I look for, and I'll flip us around here so you can see this, is these, like, they're not hedgerows, they're in the woods, but these really thick mats of bushes. The Smilex, and this is what we're looking for, they seem to really like those and seem to really congregate on those. Heck, they might even make up most of those. You know, I see a lot of dead vines down inside, and so it's very possible that they make up a good chunk of what we're seeing. So in my little foraging bag here, I've got a little bread bag, used bread bag. I like to reuse if I can, but when I put it into the bag, I want it a little bit separated from the foraging bag. There's a nice does. Get out of the river. I think Dozer just found our river. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, he just found the river. He does like the water. You feel better about life now? Huh? Now that you got yourself all wet? So this is actually the upper segment of the Imperial River. And you can see, you might be able to see across there, there's actually another path coming out. Actually, one of the more popular trails, or I should say popular trails, one of the trails that I hike pretty frequently is just on the other side of this little pool here. And this little pool actually, if just past this sandbar, there'll be a ton of gar. They like to hang out in this spot. And so that's my other trail. We're not going to hike through the water today. I'm going to go back and get my pack. I set it down while we were picking those Smilex. So we need to get that, and then we'll see if that trail goes any farther beyond the river. Otherwise, we'll double back around, and there's some more trails this way. So I'll be back in a few minutes. Stay. 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 Something was running through the woods here. Nope. Let's find out what it is before you go explore it. And it was moving at a pretty good clip through the woods here. Goes. That may be a raccoon, but I never saw it. Yeah, well, maybe it's something not very friendly. But he has no fear, so that can work out poorly for us. That definitely sounded bigger than a lizard, unless it was an iguana. So I think we'll leave it be, and we'll get back on the trail. Go. Does go. Kind of pretty. Oh, they're coming to check me out. Gouda cola. Kind of growing all along here. If you're gonna get wet, now's the time to do it, buddy. Go on in there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff there. Woohoo. Woohoo. That's gotta feel good, huh? Yeah. You're a mess. Rinse your face off. Alright. Back on the road we go. Nah. Yeah, he wants to play stick. Nice thing is he goes and shakes off away from me, so that's good. Some Smilex here. Now I want to show you this. So intermixed with this, there's a greenbrier. You can see the difference in the leaves. Now the tips on those are edible. And you can see that the veins start at the base and go all the way up. But if you notice, that leaf even appears much more, I don't know, firm is the word, but definitely doesn't have the tenderness of the greenbrier. And then if you look in here, you'll see some little red berries. Now, I can't think of the name of those right now, but those actually grow on a vine. And they'll grow amongst all of these edibles. And those are one of the most deadly little things that you're going to find out here. So that's why it's so important when you find, for example, these, and get them in the camera, you want to follow it back and look at those leaves and determine, you know, is that what we're looking for? See if I can get it to focus on one here. It's being difficult. These are edible, but again, you really want to make sure. Never just assume that because it's in a group, because any wild edible is in a group, that it's one of the wild edibles. Mushrooms are really no different. You can be picking a patch of mushrooms that are all the same, and intermix them can be a poisonous one. So you really want to slow down and make sure you identify each species that you take and make sure that it's right. Now on Smilex, for example, this is a short vine. There are no leaves on this. I'm just going to leave that. Now right next to it is this. That's Smilex with a nice tip. I'm going to take that. But I'm going to leave, even though I believe that that heavier, thicker piece is Smilex, I'm not going to take it because I can't verify it by the leaves. This one, that's a Smilex. So just really take a moment and make sure that each thing that you're harvesting is the right one, because there's no sense risking getting sick or, you know, even dying over a wild edible. And there really is no reason for it. You know, don't pick anything that you don't know exactly what it is. If you say anything like, I think, I'm pretty sure, I believe, just leave it be, because you're not positive. Don't pick it if you're not positive. It's just not worth it, especially if you're teaching young people. This is a great lesson to teach them, which is just, you know, just be sure. Mushrooms, another great example. I was discussing the agaricus mushrooms with somebody on social media, and I don't know, I think they were arguing with me, which is ironic because I was agreeing with them in a less wordy way. But that can be a fabulous mushroom to eat. However, that mushroom can also make you very sick if you don't get the right one. And they can look almost identical. So you have to know, if you're going to pick that mushroom, you need to know how to identify that, specifically down to the edible version of that. Now, I happen to really enjoy those mushrooms. I don't recommend that mushroom for early beginners because it's just, again, there's no point. There's plenty of wild mushrooms that you can pick that aren't going to make you sick, that you can enjoy and make a meal out of. I still have boletes in my cupboard from last summer that I haven't finished up yet, and so there's no point in risking it with something that I'm unsure about. So anyway, that is my wild edible rant for the day. I'm going to get back on the trail here. We're gonna actually head back a little bit towards where we came. I'm kind of running this road, but down below is where I'm watching. This is where the water was not long ago, and so I'm really watching for lemon bokeh. But I'm gonna keep moving along this road, kind of back to where we started, then we're gonna hook up with another leg of the trail, and if I find anything, I'll bring you back. This is interesting. Kind of a sign of spring is coming, or here. But I see these all along here. These are thistles. And those will pop into the purple flowers of thistles. Now, thistles are edible. They're not one that I have messed around with, but some people do. You can look it up online, and they'll tell you how to what parts to take, and of course you got to be pretty careful with them. They're kind of an ornery thing, but I think there's medicinal uses for it and edible uses for it. So not one that we're after today. We're just going to keep on our particular mission here and see what else we can find. So a couple people have messaged me asking where in the heck I was. See if you can see that. South Florida Water Management District, vacant lands, open dawn to dusk. Hiking, horseback riding, fishing, and bicycling allowed. No hunting or motorized vehicles, no camping. So dawn till dusk. What I like about this is not promoted or advertised anywhere. So, I mean, other than the locals who come out here, and if you see the road, you can see that the motorized vehicle rule is not exactly adhered to. I would say that's the primary use, frankly, of these trails back in here, which is perfectly okay. I enjoy birds and I enjoy foraging and love fishing, and I don't mind the ATVs at all. We all share the land and we all share the trails, and to date, although there can always be exceptions to the rule, to date the people that I've encountered ATVing have been very respectful and slowed down for me. I had a couple come by the other day while I was in the hammock, and they slowed down to almost a roll, and visited briefly, and then off they went. So, you know, as long as they're not going 60 miles an hour and almost running over my dog, I'm okay. We all need to share the land, so it doesn't interfere with my foraging at all. But nice and dry back in here. We've had a couple interesting encounters with dozer. There seems to be some wildlife moving around in the edges. Haven't been able to see what it is, but bigger than your average lizard, I'll say that. And so I don't leash him, even back in here, even when I'm around gators. He's well behaved. Dozer, sit, sit, stay. Up, up, come on. As you can see, he's well behaved. He's not as well as behaved as he was when he was young, but he's still pretty good comparatively to other people's. He doesn't really bark. If he barks and growls, then I get nervous because it's pretty rare and it means something has his attention. But overall, he is very, very quiet. Even when the four-wheelers came up when I was napping in the hammock the other day, he didn't pay much mind to him. So anyway, I don't put him on a leash because he listens to me. Now, if I'm at an area where there's a lot of people, obviously he's going to go on a leash, but back in here, he gets to run free like he was meant to. All right, it's all kind of the same turf in here, so I'll bring you back if I see anything. This is interesting, guys. You can see this is still wet. That was wet very, or not very long ago. You can see that was recently wet as well. There's a little standing water right here. I mean, just a tiny bit, but you can actually see it moving. And I don't know if you can see them swimming around, but those aren't bugs. Those are minnows. That is the last of their water. And that's basically a buffet for birds while it lasts. And then, you know, whatever's left when that water dries up, that'll be left for the bugs and the flies. But that's what we encountered earlier, and that's what I decided to just bypass and get back onto this trail. I've been on this trail before. This winds back in quite a ways. I don't actually know how far these trails go. I've probably done, you know, 3 miles on them, maybe 4, you know, in, and just seem to continue to find more trails. So how far they go and what they all connect to, I'm not really sure. I would imagine at some point you could connect over to the crew lands through this, and if you could do that, then at some point you could connect over to the bird rookery swamp trails. I don't know that for sure. That's just a theory. I have not discovered that path yet, but maybe one of these days I will. This is definitely the time of the year to do it. It's a little bit cooler and the water's gone. Come May and June, once the rain comes back, it won't take long for these low spots to fill back up. So, and it'll be 107 degrees, so my hiking through this woods will be a bit more limited. Not that I don't do it. I just might not do the long hauls. So I'll probably get out this weekend and see if I can find a trail to explore and see where it goes. So, all right, I just wanted to show you that little bit of standing water left. Just a moment of silence, you guys. I am not very far away from my favorite brewery here in Bonita Springs, Florida. When I got off the main road to get back to this road, or this trail basically, that led me here, I probably had a dozen cars behind me and a dozen cars in front of me at the light, or at the stop sign. And, you know, so fairly busy there. And but I'm just going to stop for a minute. And other than Dozer, it is completely silent. You know, when I do my day camps, that's one of the reasons I come to places like this. I can get out here. This is, you know, this is 10 minutes from my house. Just, you know, a mile hike in, maybe 2 miles, whatever. It's not very far. And all these cypress trees, I can sling up a hammock. I've got Cola, Smilex. You know, those two seem to be almost always around. Pennywort, occasionally, like I said, if I can find it, the lemon Bokeh. And you've got the river not too far away. If I wanted to, I could fish. There are other fish than gar in there. There's bass, there's snook, there's Mayan cichlids, Oscars. So I could bring my fishing rod and hike down, you know, go over there and do a little fishing. And I could do a camp and cook out here. But I'm just super close to home. And you know, it's just absolutely beautiful and so quiet. So I wasn't sure where I was, but I do now know. So this trail leads back out. This is the trail that I would normally come in. When I did my lemon Bokeh day camp and harvested tea and made tea out in the woods, that's the trail I came in on. I mentioned before that I've hiked several miles in. That's this trail. I've hiked quite a ways in, and again, I have not found, you know, the exit to it, you know, where it comes out at. I'm half convinced it runs all the way to Estero, but I don't know that for a fact. But it is beautiful back in here, and actually, I believe the spot we're coming up on is where I did my wild tea day camp. Absolutely, it is. So that was dry when we were here, but back in that trail, back in that woods is where I spent the afternoon. Now in this pond, I don't know that you'll be able to see that, but it is just full. I mean, it is full of minnows. When I first walked up, I saw some bigger ones in there. And my guess is that in the deeper center, there's probably some bigger fish. Because even like catfish will get stuck in these waters. When the water's high, they come up out of the river. And of course, then they spawn. And then they get stuck here. And again, bird buffet. Fortunately, I know the cheat to this. Oh, look at here. I don't know if you guys can see that. That is super fresh. I would say one of the noises that Dozer and I heard was a young doe. Going to your left, bud. Ooh, sniffing something good, huh? Maybe it's that deer you smell. Oh, here we go, guys. This is what I've been looking for. Not enough to harvest here, but I'm going to show this to you anyway. This is lemon Bokeh. Oh man, and when I broke that off, just a strong smell of, like I said, people say it smells like lime. I think it smells kind of mentholish. This is a very small patch. I don't see a larger patch nearby. So we're going to go ahead and just leave that go. I don't want to damage, what's there, because again, there's actually plenty. Now here we go. Here's some more here. This is all lemon Bokeh. This is actually a decent little patch. It's not very big. I'm going to leave that actually as well. Later on, that'll grow a little thicker. And there's Lutecola growing in here with it. But that is a lemon Bokeh. So that's a great sign. We're finding more. If I find a large patch, I will take some of that home because, again, my tea supply is just about gone. So it'll be almost time to, it's almost time to restock it. So we're going to keep moving through here and we'll bring you back after a bit. Sorry about the shaking there. Just wanted to show you these ferns. I always loved ferns. You can definitely see we're in a little different terrain here than what we started out at. A little bit thicker in here. There's so many berries and flowers on these plants. Now they're not here now, but there are plants I can see the berries beginning to form on them. I've seen several, cocoa plum trees along here, and of course it's not really their season. I've heard they can fruit year-round. I haven't really seen that here. Well, look at this guy. I'm king of that tree, he says. What's nice about this back in here is you do get some shade, so you can camp out underneath a tree here, just along the trail in a lot of cases, and get out of the sun. It's actually in the shade, like right here. That temperature drops a good 5 degrees, and it's really nice. It's not hot. It's probably only 75 to 78 degrees anyway. But of course, Florida sun's got some kick to it. And when you step out of that, it really gives you a nice break. So, and since we are in the shade here, I think I'm going to stop and hydrate Dozer and I. Seems like a good opportunity. Need some water, bud? Need some water? So these things are awesome. We got these when we moved into our new place. And they're rubber, and they fold up flat. They've got a little hook on them. And they just expand out. I've never really used them. I mean, there's mud puddles out here. There's the river. And I haven't really worried too much about Dozer. But there are times, especially, depending on the trail we're at this time of year, where it just is really dry. And I do worry about them getting enough water. And so these, I mean, it is super, super light. Here, bud. Here, hold on a minute. Wait. I drink out of the bottle. I drink out of the bottle. Yeah, he wants to drink out of the bottle. Watch out for the snakes, bud. Not listening to me. I am finding some Bidens back in here, though. So again, Biden's Elba. Now when I come looking for my tea, I'll be picking that as well, because I'll add that to my tea. Like my moringa trees to get a little growth on them. They're flowered, but they haven't put on any real good amounts of leaves yet. I'm hoping as it gets warmer they'll do that, because then I can use the Biden's Alba, lemon Bokeh, and the moringa for the tea. So makes a nice mix. Super healthy. Lizards running around. I mentioned the berries. Anybody watching knows what those are. Please feel free to put it in the comment section. Very curious. I've seen them before. You know, and that's something I've mentioned in my previous videos. I am not a wild foods expert, not a mushroom expert. I love doing this. There's some I know, some I don't know. The ones I know, I mess with. The ones I don't know, I don't mess with. That doesn't mean I don't take pictures of them and try to identify them. I certainly do that. Pretty spot. But I don't eat anything I don't know for sure what it is, so always willing to learn new stuff. And actually that's part of the fun of this, is taking photos, bringing it home, getting the books out, and discovering new ones. Looking to see if there was any lemon bokeh here, but I don't see any. I never did find a spot of that purslane of any real size, just real small patches. I tend not to harvest from those, just like that lemon bokeh. I'll find patches that are just huge, and I'll take it from there. But those little ones, I don't mess with that too much. Let it grow. Let them fill in. Oh, Dozer's got something in the woods there. What do you got, bud? What do you got? What is it? What is it? Probably just a lizard. Yeah, I don't see anything. He's got better nose and ears than I do, so who knows what was in there. Pretty dry right now. Normally there'd be birds along this little stretch, but you can see there's still some water here, but not very much. I haven't seen any snakes along this trail. I about guarantee you they're here. And as this water dries, I'll tend to see them farther away from water than normal. As they move, you know, to new locations. Didn't know that about water moccasins, but I've seen them a long ways from water, and found out from someone more knowledgeable in the snake arena that that's not uncommon, so that they will travel quite a ways. Again, part of the joy of being out here. Learning about the natural world, learning to appreciate it. Even the poisonous ones. It's always interesting to me how I hear people admiring the adventures. Whether it be out in the boat and having sea otters in Alaska climbing the boat. Whether it's been out here with panthers coming out on the trail with us, stepping over gators, encountering snakes, big spiders, of which I am not a fan. But people are like, oh my God, like, you know, I just couldn't do that. I can't believe you do that. But that's how I get those adventures. Sure, there's a risk to it, but without risk, there's no reward. That applies to life, business, relationships, everything. It's you got to be willing to risk in order to get the rewards. And Dozer and I have been blessed with some pretty great outdoor rewards. So thus far, the risk has been worth it. Starting to hear the crickets. Sound of the evening is beginning. Pretty sure I do have bug spray in the backpack. Out here I do bring it, especially for these evening hikes. Sometimes the bugs don't come out, I mean, they don't bother me, but there are times when they come out, especially out of these wet areas, and you want to be prepared. So I just have a small can that I bring with. I prefer not to use it unless I absolutely have to, but certainly there has been times when I have had to. Here's a pretty good sized little pond, and I think this is going to be the end of our excursion today. See big bubbles up ahead. Water bugs. Those are things we should carry on. What do you think, bud? What do you think? I think it's time to go home and have supper. I believe that is what time it is. Well, he seems to be in agreement. That's good. You want supper? Whoa, supper! Yeah, he likes supper, don't you, bud? Yeah, I don't have it with me. Look at him look at me like, what is going on? Man, don't be promising things. Alright guys, well you've seen this portion of the trail, so I'm going to turn the camera off, and if I come across anything of interest, I'll bring you back. Ample opportunities to pick it up. Unfortunately, I don't have a bag with me today. It's one of the things I forgot to grab. I have them in the truck. I just don't have them with me here. What are you doing here? Oh. Uh-oh. Well, I'll be darned. So when I forage, I always find wild edibles. On one trip out here, I found brand new glasses, like cheaters, and that I have on my desk actually this day. I cleaned them up. This is an unopened soldier. That is full. So that must have been on someone's four-wheeler. And mango and fell off. So, well, you never know what you're going to find when you're out here. So, found glasses, found tools, now I've found full happy hours. Of course, the thing's about 105 degrees, even if you wanted to drink it. Oh, man. Well, better than me picking up than some kid riding a four-wheeler. Good way to cause an accident. Alright guys, you're going to get mad at me for this one. If my friend Vegas is watching this, this is for you, my friend. Always leave one for the next guy. I'm going to leave that one hanging. And if my friend Vegas is watching, or Tara, if you're watching, make sure Vegas sees that particular piece, and he will know why and what it means. Always leave one for the next guy. Now, for those wondering what in the heck that leave one for the next guy routine was, I'll give you a clue. somebody left that for the next guy. And that's the only hint you get. Bit bothered with myself for not bringing a bag with, but the forage bag is working just fine. Luckily this fine sand comes right off, and that bag will of course shake right out. So other than a little jingly jangly while we walk, no harm, no foul. What do you smell, bud? Just about that time of evening, the local residents will be coming out. I like these little cypress areas. They're kind of neat. Definitely built to be in the water. You can tell at some point this was all underwater. There are bike tracks in here. So it looks like somebody's been mountain biking through here. Definitely some ATV tracks. Although again, haven't encountered anybody here today. I would wager on the weekends that'll change. Alright guys, I'm back to the truck. That was a great evening hike. I mean, again, it's, I don't know, it's probably 4:45 and 75 degrees, sunny. Just a little bit of a breeze, enough to keep it nice and cool. And found enough Smilex. Well, honestly, I found enough Smilex I could have brought quite a bit home. I brought home enough for a meal, so that'll do just fine. And Dozer and I are going to stop and do a little pick it up before we head home. Pick up some of the garbage that others left behind. But I hope you enjoyed this walk. And you know, Dozer and I get out quite a bit. In the past I've shared very random, very few, very far between walks. And someone recently said to me, you know, why don't you share your daily walks or your weekly walks? We're always exploring new territory, seeing new things. And you know, we've seen panther, bear, of course we've seen grouse, pheasant. Not obviously not in Florida, but we've done this in Minnesota, Montana, Wisconsin, Alaska, Florida. We've done it all over. And so I've decided to start bringing the camera with and start doing some videos. There's a lot of people that can't get out and walk, whether it's for COVID and they're just staying home, whether it's for physical reasons they can't get out, whether they're just uncomfortable out in the woods by themselves. You know, we encounter gators and bear and panther, but there's some beautiful country out here. Maybe people just want to learn about the wild edibles. Again, not a food expert, but I know a few, and we learn every time we come out. So we'll learn together if you're so interested. And so we're going to start putting more of these videos out, start discovering more things. We'll still include the fishing, and definitely going to have more day camps. We'll have more multi-day camps, you know, with the hammock. Again, not doing the tent anymore. Now that I'm over 50, just not going to do that. And so we'll get more of these day camps and hikes and foraging videos. And as the rains start coming in May and June, we'll get some mushroom videos up. So thanks for coming along today. I'm going to go home and get some supper. Don't forget, between now and next time, get outside and do something wild.